Welcome back to Relaxing Reality, and we're off to Hersheypark, Twizzlers Twisted Gravity, the world's tallest scream and swing ride in the world that will be opening very soon. The ride is testing for the very first time, and we get to see that up close in person. We're also going to be going to a physics day that's being put on by Hersheypark for students and learn a little bit more about the Twizzlers Twisted Gravity attraction and go a little bit behind the scenes on the making of this ride. A lot of exciting things happening with the opening date just around the corner. We're also going to check out Chocolate World, ride the Chocolate Tour ride, test out a brand new camera that I just got, very exciting, and also just walk around the park and see what kind of rides we can get on it. Today is Friday, May 9th, 2025. A little bit rainy today. We're going to experience Hersheypark, and we're excited to take you along with us. All right, it is officially 51 degrees, feels like 47. It is not too bad, right? Manageable. Ready?
We're dudes, we can do it. I mean, it's gonna be cold on the coaster.
We'll ride the Chocolate World Tour later on today. Just gonna go into the park right now and see what we can get on. There's some kind of music fest going on today, as every Friday there's something going on in the month of May, it seems. Also rocking the iPhone 15 Pro, filming on that instead of the Osmo Pocket 3, because if that gets,
cannot get wet.
We do not want to get that wet, so we're just going to use the iPhone today. A lot of people congregating in the front entranceway here. This might be a little bit busier than I thought it would be. Oh, the excitement of entering Hersheypark. Love it. And we will not be getting a fast track today, which is part of the HB Go system. That gets you pay a lot of money to skip the line.
The rain is our fast track.
We're not going to skip the line today. We're going to wait in line. Well, hello, Mr. Hershey. We meet again. How you doing today, sir? Straight and dry? All right, we're going to ride some coasters. On days like today, where there's just masses of people in groups, they all like to go and do the same thing. So they start in the front of the park and kind of go to the popular attractions first. They are testing out Twizzlers Twisted Gravity right now. Oh, look at that. Here we go. Look at that. Wow. My goodness. This is nuts. Oh, jeez. Dude. Wow! It looks even better than I thought it would. Yeah. There's the Great Bear. This is what the Great Bear looks like with Twizzlers Twisted Gravity. They were going to be testing it today. Got a message on our last video that someone that works for the paving company, they said they paved are all up there around the entrance, and also the pathway is opened up from the hollow to the super duper looper. So they said that they were testing it yesterday being Thursday. They weren't allowed to take any video clips or video because the park was closed. So got a little tip that they would be probably testing this. Wow. And that's probably
do that later.
Yeah, that's the longest you will ever see Common right now. Look at that. It is just packed. It's okay.
We'll do that later.
We're season pass holders. We can do whatever we want. Skyrush is not open yet, so we're gonna walk past that. And Super Duper Looper is filling up quickly. Not open yet, but you can see they finished the paving for this pathway here. Wow. since last week's video. They have railings up in the line queue area.
No, it's crazy when like some people think it's gonna be cool, but then when it's actually built, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was awesome to see that. Oh, here we go. Something happening during the Fridays during May, Food Truck Fridays. It's all back by the boardwalk. These are the featured trucks today. They have not had it running since we just saw it about 15 minutes ago. You can also see they are finishing the painting around the concrete there. That looks really nice. Gonna be a really cool ride when it's open. Right now, it looks like they're trying to get this open as quickly as possible. A lot of rumors, maybe Memorial Day weekend, as early as that. We shall see.
Dude, look.
Yeah.
No, look, you can still get in.
Oh, I know, yeah, the bush is right here. This is to the old Skyview ride.
You can still get in to Skyview.
But this is really cool. You can see the pavement's now been installed. That looks really neat. No longer dirt. Look how nice and neat that looks. You got the control shack right there. And the pathway is all paved again. Cold Cracker should be opening a couple weeks. That was so cool to see this thing being tested as we walked in. Look how high this is. It's crazy. I think this is like fresh pavement right here, it looks like. All right, first ride of the day, Great Bear. Might as well, right? And last Friday, this was all filled up, this line queue, so nice to see it. It's very empty right now. Might be a walk-on. Definitely not a walk-on right now. Look at the line behind us. Whoa. That was not a walk-on. I got too excited. It was like 20 minutes.
I told you it was going to be a long line.
Yeah. It's kind of a wet, rainy, busy day. This is not expected, but it is Friday. Definitely get a little wet when it's raining. I mean, I don't advise that if you're afraid of water to go on the Great Bear, but that was a lot of fun. Woo!
You're afraid of water. Why would you?
If you're the Wicked Witch, you will be. All right. That was a little bit of a long wait, but we did see Twisted Gravity testing. I'm gonna walk over there and see if they're gonna run it again. Yeah, man, we're screaming for dear life. I thought they were tearing this up. I think they're just using it as storage for all the asphalt equipment. So I don't think this is going away. This three-point shooter thing.
Probably be stained with tar.
Yeah, no rhyme or reason. They're just running it whenever they can. Steady rain right now. Good news is I just checked the weather forecast and it's around 1 o'clock. It's supposed to stop raining and it's supposed to be nice the rest of the day. So just got to get through this next hour here.
Early in the morning, we're men, we can handle it.
Yeah, we can. Hello. And even the Kissin' Towers have a line. That's crazy. Or the Hershey Tower. Hershey Drop Tower has a line. I mean, I guess we could go on the Kissing Tower. It's a way to get out of the rain, but I'm sure that's probably busy too. It's nice to see them swinging. Over by the Overlook Food Court, they have the railing installed on the patio. Come on, Mr. Twizzler, man. We want to see the ride. We want to see it. We want to see it.
Mr.
He's just hanging out in there. It is just steady rain right now. All right, we just saw 3 guys emerge from the leg of this thing, and they're going to the control panel, so we'll see if they turn this on. The suspense is killing me. We just got a bell. What's gonna happen?
Ding.
Ding. Oh, yeah, baby. Wow.
That thing is terrifying.
Yeah, no doubt. Jeez.
Oh, it goes right above you.
Look how that.
Dude, if someone's phone falls out, you'll get crushed.
Dude, it's like hitting those trees right there. You see that? Wait, watch this, watch this.
Yo!
Dude, it's like they gotta do some weed whacking. Wow.
The pressure that you hear, you know?
It's just. They're testing it!
It's like, someone's phones fall out, and it's actually like people on it.
Yeah, that's why there's gonna be no loose articles on this ride when it's going, so.
No loose articles. You hear me, all right?
They gotta do something about this tree, though. They gotta trim that tree a little bit.
Gotta do some weed whacking.
People's feet are gonna be hitting that branches. That's awesome.
I don't want my feet hitting that branch, so I'm never going on that side.
Waited like literally 20 minutes in the rain for them to just start it up again, but I'm glad we did.
It's a short ride.
It's a short, about a minute and 10 seconds or
Less
so.
than a minute.
I don't know if that's like accurate for the actual.
Less than.
Yeah, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but they're testing it sporadically throughout the day. Monorail is closed right now. Let's see if it opens later. Let me get some crab fries here while the rain tapers off. So no one's sitting at the picnic tables right now.
You know, I know we got like the blue cheese. I know we got the blue cheese for the wings, but I don't know how this is.
I'm sure it's gonna be good. So these are the crab fries. These are famous.
Oh, it's not good.
No, you don't like it with the blue cheese? And we got the, what is it? The buffalo chicken?
Yeah, the chicken wings.
There we go. And we're just standing at this pink picnic table, munching. The rain has started to let up a little bit, thankfully.
That was good.
Chicken is really not that bad. And I mean, we're also...
It's Chickie's and Pete's, so...
Yeah, this is good stuff. Definitely inhaled the chicken. And it's not that spicy, the buffalo. A little spice, but not too bad.
Okay. So, what you need to do is if you get all the cheese sauce to yourself, you get a small fry like this. Oh, you don't do that.
You're dipping the cheese? Yeah.
Yeah, so you dip it once, all right?
Yep.
Then you eat it. You get like a medium fry. Basically split in half, dip one side, eat it, and then dip the other side, eat it.
Oh, without putting
And then with
this...
the long side, you dip it once, eat it, dip it twice, eat it, and then dip it like another time. So you basically divide it up, and then you can get rid of the cheese sauce faster, but you don't get rid of the fries faster.
Just making it go as much as possible and not worrying about double dipping because I'm not eating that. I can't have the cheese. Not today. But these are great. These are the crab fries. The seasoning is really amazing. It's what they're known for. Chickies and Pete's. Yep. Came, we saw, we conquered.
Everybody look right here for me. Big peace sign 22G.
Dude, they're getting rid of the sidewalk. It's the markings of death.
You think they're getting rid of this sidewalk here?
Yes, they are.
They're doing
The
something.
markings.
Not only do they taste bad, but they're bad at spelling. The League of Misfit Candies from Reese's Cup Fusion.
I think they're safe for now. Safe for later.
What? I'm waving to Reese. He's dancing.
When the wind picks up, you know what I mean?
Even Reese has an umbrella going on. Look at that.
He's going.
Yeah, he's getting escorted out. So at 2 o'clock, there is a STEM physics educational event going on. And I believe they're going to talk a little bit about Twizzlers Twisted Gravity, the physics behind it. So we're going to duck in there and see that. There it is, Physics Day presentation.
My name's Brad Kirkham. I'm the Director of Engineering here at Hersheypark, Hershey Entertainment Resorts. I am a structural engineer by education. I went to Penn State a little while ago, and now I'm here kind of in the theme park realm, doing engineering primarily here at the park, but also across all our properties. So today we're going to talk about our new ride, Twizzlers Twisted Gravity, which is going to open imminently. I'm not going to say a date yet because we're not quite there, but it's very soon. It is an S&S Scream and Swing. That's what the manufacturer sells to us. It is the tallest in the world. So the tower itself up to there is 106 feet in the air. It's 1 foot taller than the current tallest in the world, which is in Williamsburg. And it'll swing to a height of 137 feet off the ground. You're going to go 68 miles an hour in the swing. You're going to experience 4.3 Gs and negative 0.4 Gs. So when you ride this ride, if you weigh 100 pounds, at some point in the ride, it's going to feel like the force of gravity. You weigh 430 pounds, and at some point you're going to be ejected out of your seat by about half of your body weight. So pretty fun, we think. The great news is the restraint is just a lap bar. That's all that's holding you in your seat while you're riding this. So it's going to be pretty fun for us, very thrilling. We started testing this week, so I have a short video at the end here of us actually running it. It's pretty cool. So we haven't quite gotten to the full swing, but we're pretty close in the video that was actually taken this morning. So you guys are on the cutting edge of seeing what we're doing here. The ride that's sold to us starts right here, right? All of that structure from there up is steel structure. So the question is, how many packages of 16-ounce Twizzlers, 1 pound, how many pounds do you think that steel ride weighs erected in place? Anybody? Shout out some answers.
5 tons.
Millions high.
5 tons.
5 tons is 10,000 pounds. That's very low.
20.
100,000 is more in the ballpark. 194,500 pounds is the weight of the steel structure in place here at Hersheypark. I'm sure some of you have been here before. In order to facilitate this ride, we had an amphitheater down by the creek. The amphitheater hasn't been utilized in a couple of years. It was just dead space in the park. We were using it as a haunted attraction for the last couple of years just to try to get some activation out of it. But we decided when we were planning this project that this was the spot we wanted to put this new ride. So this is kind of some pictures of our existing amphitheater. There you can see it in the park. I know some people in my office saw Faith Hill there, the country singer, like way back when she was up and coming in the early 90s, just to age it a little bit. This stuff is not actually falling down. That's scenery for our haunted attractions. Those are fake joists that are made out of wood. So as part of this project, when we come in here and do this, our ride wants to sit about right there, okay? That red line is a 20-inch sewer main that services the town of Hershey. We can't build a ride over top of a sewer main, so we have to move it out of the way. It wants to go here. So that was our first step of this project, was to actually facilitate moving that. We started in March of last year, so we've been working on this project, building this project for over a year. It feels like we've been building this project for over a year. We've been out there for a very long time. That's a long time for us. Usually we build from Labor Day to Memorial Day. That's how much time we have to build an attraction in Hersheypark for obvious reasons, right? This we started extremely early because this was a dead zone in the park. We could get out there earlier and build earlier with some kind of concessions made in the park for us to get equipment in and out and work and that kind of fun stuff. We move equipment in and we're trying to move that sewer line. So first thing, there's a reason that that was a hill in the park, and we never flattened it out or did anything with it. It's because it's made entirely of rock. So as part of that, our sewer, I should have mentioned this, the sewer main that we're trying to place is 20 feet deep in the ground. So we have 20 feet times as long as that trench of rock to excavate. There you can see kind of an overall in July, not a whole lot of progress. It was very difficult getting that rock out. So we bring a drill rig in, something that looks like that. Because we were just chipping and hammering it, we can't blast in the park. Obviously, we don't want to use dynamite. That's disruptive to rides and all kinds of things. So we bring a drill rig in. They drill a hole on every one of these little clay pigeons. They drill a hole so that they can break that rock up into smaller pieces more easily and get it out of there. That's how far we made it. That was about, I don't know, 30 feet in 2-3 months. Very slow. Once we drilled all those holes, we got the rest of the trench out of there in 2 weeks. So it really helps us. It obviously costs more money, but in order to stay on track, that's what we're willing to do. There you can see 20-foot trench box with guys down in there putting that sewer main in. There's the guys there. That's a safety thing, obviously. If we can trench straight down, we have to protect those sides so they don't cave in on the workers. In August, 1 month later, we're finally finished with that stage of the project, and now we can actually start building a ride. So as part of that, this is a plan for our ride. There you can see the ride station, the ride piers or towers are right there and there. So we have a team of architects and engineers that help us design these rides and put them together. This is their plan. From there, we start building our ride. So this is a drawing from our structural engineer. So we hired a structural engineer to help us. They put together plans for the ride that we have, right? So this is the ride pier. So the ride sits on top on those anchor bolts. This is an 18-foot tall concrete pier. There's an 8.5-foot tall pile cap that sits under that pier that ties these caissons together. A caisson is a concrete column that you bury into the ground, right? You drill it straight into the ground till you hit bedrock, and then once we hit bedrock, we had to keep going 12 more feet to socket that into rock. So 2 of our caissons were 60 feet deep. Our shortest one was 28 feet deep, okay? So I told you the ride weighed 194,500 pounds. Anybody guess what the equivalent, the dynamic load of that at the top of our pier, what kind of loading we're looking at? Anybody guess? 263,000 pounds is what we have to resolve into those foundations. That's a tremendous amount of force. Our foundation engineer told us, and they've designed roller coasters all across the country. This was the largest force they've ever had to account for in a ride. So what compounds that, I'm assuming most of you are physics minded in this room. So like I told you, this is 18 feet tall. This is 8.5 feet tall. We're trying to resolve that into our foundations. So we have a force of 263,000 pounds multiplied by a moment arm of 26.5 feet. You guys can do the math at your own leisure. That's a tremendous amount of moment overturning force that we need to resist in those foundations. So those caissons are 6 feet in diameter. They're huge. And I told you they're as much as 60 feet deep into the ground. So we're going to look at construction of that first. That's where we start. So we excavate out that pad, that 8.5 foot square of concrete is that excavation. Then we start drilling. You can see there's three cans in there. Those are 7 foot diameter corrugated metal which hold the earth back inside of those caissons. And then we start drilling. So drilling operation is pretty involved. You can kind of see some of the equipment here. That's the rebar cage that will ultimately go in the caisson to reinforce the concrete. That is one of the shaft liners. So that's a piece of steel pipe that's as long as the caisson we drill. You insert that into the ground to hold back earth, rock, not so much water, but essentially to keep the hole open. And then you can see drill bits. So they use all kinds of various sizes of drill bits to drill down through that rock and create those holes. They usually start with a 36, step up to a 48, and then step the whole way up to a 72-inch diameter. So they're pretty much drilling every hole 3 times. That's my coworker Steve standing in front of one of our inserts. That's a 6 foot diameter insert. He's almost exactly 6 feet tall, and shockingly also has a 6 foot wingspan. But just to give you some relative size. So that's October last year. Our contractor has mobilized. They have a crane for lifting all their stuff. That's their drill rig. So that drill rig obviously has to drill through solid rock. That drill rig is capable of producing 197,000 pounds of torque in order to rotate that drill bit through the rock. So when we started this job, these guys told us they'd be here for about 3 weeks to drill 7 holes. That's November. 1 month later, 4 weeks later. There's almost no difference in those 2 pictures. They were here till January. It took them quite a bit longer than we all thought it would take them to drill 7 holes. It was quite a procedure. The fun thing is that Spring Creek that runs right through the middle of our park. So as soon as we started drilling caisson holes, they filled with water instantaneously. And they stayed full of water the whole way through the process. That's what it looks like when you're drilling caissons. We did that for 3 months, 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. A lot of fun. Very muddy, very time consuming, but you can kind of get a scale. That's filled with water, so that's actually a quiet operation. When there is no water, it's even louder than that. When it's a smooth barrel, it squeaks too, like raking your fingers down a chalkboard. So it was a lot of fun for 3 months out there, but that's the process of how we drill these caissons. So this is the other thing, so they're full of water. We have to inspect those, right? So we have to drill down to bedrock, then we have to go 12 more feet. That has to be solid, continuous rock for us to pass that hole. If there's a seam or a crack in that rock, we start over. We start from 0, and we have to keep drilling. So what that looks like, we have an engineer that comes out with a 360-degree camera that they run down the hole. At some point, this one just happened to be at 26 foot 5 or 26 foot 6, 26.5 feet down the hole, they hit this layer. This is clear water that you can look through. Kind of looks like Italian dressing if you leave it sit out. Right here was a layer of dirt, and then this water was 0 visibility. So that hole was 50 feet deep. You can't obviously inspect the bottom half of the hole, so we have to actually run a pump down there and pump every drop of water out in order to run a camera down there to look at the hole. In the old days, a guy actually used to sit on a piece of plank and you would drop him into the hole and he would physically look at it. We don't do that anymore because it's super dangerous and we won't let him do that. Our geotechnical engineer actually was itching to go down on a plank and we kept telling him no. So this is what it looks like on a day we're gonna pour. They lift up one of those big rebar cages, drop it in the hole. Simultaneously, we're pumping water out of the hole so that we can start placing concrete from the bottom up. We can't get every inch of water out, so as we pump concrete, concrete is denser than water. The water will ride that column to the top, and then we either just let it flow over the top or we'll throw a pump in there at the very end and pull that water off the top until we finish it off. So caisson caps, after we're done pouring all of our caissons, we lock those together with a big cap. That's 30 by 30 by 8.5 feet tall. Tremendous amount of concrete, looks like that. Who knows how you size rebar in this room? So rebar size, if I said a number 4 rebar, number 4 is the number of eighths inch in diameter. So a number 4 bar is a 1/2 inch in diameter, right? 4/8. We tied these rebar cages, every piece of this bar is a number 11 bar. So it's 1 3/8 inch in diameter. They're very heavy bar. They weigh 27 pounds per foot bar. Can't bend that by hand in the field. All that stuff has to be manufactured, bent in the shop and brought out to us. That's 8.5 feet tall. You can see that's the extension of the caisson that'll get poured and locked into that cap. Before we move on, you can see those guys are up there starting to pier steel as well. Those are our anchor bolts for the ride. So I gave you some of the loading of the ride. Those anchor bolts are 48 inches tall. They're 1.5 inches in diameter. Huge amount of steel to anchor that down. That's both sets. I think there are 28 anchor bolts in each set for that ride so it doesn't fly off the ground. That's the point of those. So this was one of the last caissons we poured. This was October 11th last year. I remember because I took this picture. It was about 5:30 at night when I took this picture. We were here till 8 o'clock. We started at 7 a.m. that morning. So we're finally done with caissons. We're actually going to start building the building that our ride is going to sit on top of. Anybody guess why there are blankets or tarps on the ground? Close. So it doesn't freeze. We don't want it to freeze. We can't pour concrete on frozen ground because we're trapping water in there and then it'll settle and all of a sudden that concrete that we thought was at this level is going to drop to a different level. Does that make sense? So we put blankets down to keep it warm and then we can start working on top of it. So ultimately we pull those blankets up, we start, by the way, our floor is 3 feet thick. We start laying layers of reinforcing in that to get ready to pour concrete. Ultimately then we bring out heaters, we run flexible duct into that and we heat the whole thing before we're getting ready to pour. There you can see us start to pull electrical conduits to our ride. Looks like an octopus trapped inside of there. But every one of those is a piece of wire that's going to something that operates either compressors, dryers, or something that operates the ride. So there's about 3 feet of space between that rebar cage that you can insert those conduits. We have pictures from some of our workers who actually had to crawl through there on their belly to do that work, and then they would take a picture looking up through it. I don't have any of those, but it's pretty cool. For them, or for us, not for them. This is not a picture at night. This is February 18th, this is at 4 a.m. These guys just pulled the heaters out of this corner that we're heating this slab. It was 12 degrees air temperature, 0 degrees wind chill when we started this pour. They did not want to pour concrete this day. We forced them to. We had to. We poured this guy 2 days before when it was even colder, but this was a big pour. We lost 3 concrete trucks that day that froze on the way to the job site, so they got to send them home. We can't place concrete at point of placement if it's below 55 degrees. If it's above 55 degrees, concrete is a chemical reaction. It's an exothermic chemical reaction, meaning it's giving off heat. So as long as we can get it placed at the right time and the right temperature, it will heat itself from the inside out and it won't freeze once we have it in place. But getting it here and getting it in place is the delicate dance we do. We finished it and then we blanketed it again, right? We got to get it through one overnight period where the temperatures are low, make sure the water that's in that mix doesn't freeze overnight until it gives off enough heat that we're in the clear. So we put all kinds of thermometers under these blankets, and then we're reading it for a handful of days to make sure that what we think is happening. When we came out and checked those thermometers the next morning, it was well over 80 degrees under that blanket overnight when it was 4 degrees. So it worked, thank God. End of February, you can see we're starting to build walls, piers are going up, and we're finally starting to take shape. Another progress, you can see all the formwork there. We finally set ride steel at the end of February, early March. The ride parts actually showed up from China, and we could start putting them in place. Everything comes on a boat because it's massive in size, and then gets trucked here from Philadelphia. There you can see kind of similar thing, ride starts going up. Interesting, cool thing about concrete, right? Concrete you pour wet, it's liquid, it's like oatmeal, but it has a hydrostatic pressure to it. So you can be a formwork engineer that specializes in just the design of formwork for concrete. This is what's known as a haunch or a corbel in that concrete, meaning it's cantilevering out and needs to be self-supporting. But obviously to get to that place, you have to design specialty formwork in order to support that while it's wet, so it doesn't just fall apart and mush to nothing while you're facilitating. March 2025, we've got a little more ride steel going up. We've got 2 cranes running. And then finally, it's time to top out our structure. That's a big deal for us. Usually when we build roller coasters, the last piece we set is the very top of the lift hill. In this case, it's the very top of the tower. So this is the axle that actually runs the ride, drives the ride, where everything hinges off of. This piece alone, this assembly, was 67,000 pounds. So that was the critical pick for our job site. The critical pick meaning is how you size your crane, right? So a crane, if you hold a 5-gallon bucket of water straight out with your arm, you get tired very quick, right? But if you can hold it here, you can hold it for a much longer time. A crane is the same way. When you're reaching further, you can't pick as much load as you are if you're close. So the logistics of our job, you can see that crane is not too far off of that, but he's got to reach that the whole way up here to set that. So that's our critical pick. We actually needed 2 cranes to pull that off, to facilitate that on site. 2 cranes were cheaper than 1 giant crane. So we brought in 2 cranes just for that day to set that piece of steel. You can't see it, but there's guys up here waiting. They've got all the bolts and everything that they put it together once that thing sits down where it's supposed to be, and they lock it down. So I'm going to run through a couple of quick slides here, just progress. You can see March 19th, April 9th. We don't have any swing arms yet. We've got our swing arms on. Our louvers are in. So that basement, we built that 18-foot tall basement under the ride. We took advantage of the fact that we were building into a hill, and that's where all the equipment for the ride is. It all runs off compressed air. The whole thing, if you've ridden the drop towers, same manufacturer, same air movement that drives the ride, same relative amount of noise we think will generate, not quite as noisy as the drop towers, but it's that same philosophy. And all that stuff lives down under here. There's 4 massive air compressors that run this ride. A little more progress. The seats are actually on as of April 25th. It's not quite fully operational. That is not maximum height, and it's not even close to maximum speed. So we're still ramping up. We just started running on Wednesday. It's today, Friday. So in 3 days, we've made a heck of a lot of progress, but we're still kind of working it up to a full swing at full speed. Hopefully by next week sometime, we'll load it with water dummies. So we'll load every seat with a water dummy that's filled to 175 pounds. That's what the code tells us we test our ride to in every seat. We'll run it with water dummies to get weight on it and break it in. And then the real dummies get on the ride, and we'll break it in with our own Hersheypark staff before we open it to you guys. That's all I had for today planned, but I can take questions, anything you guys want to ask me about this or just anything Hersheypark in general. I can answer almost anything. Certainly anything I'm legally allowed to answer. So if you got it, I can field it. Are you gonna get on it? Am I gonna get on it? I am voluntold to get on it. So yes, I will ride it. This one I'm nervous about. I don't like drops and I don't like spins, and I'm a little nervous about this one. But I will get on it. Yep.
Swings always swing opposite of each other?
Yes, always opposite. Now we can operate it with one side only, but when it's actually swinging, they're always opposed. Yes.
Does that help with forces?
It does help with forces, yeah. If they were both swinging the same way, that 263,000 pounds, would be even maybe double. Yes, so yeah, it helps with that, keeping it centered, so to speak. It doesn't go all the way around, so it'll go about 15 degrees past horizontal.
Wow. I have said this, but how fast does it go?
68 miles an hour. So 68 miles an hour is faster than almost every one of our coasters. We have a handful of coasters that go faster than 68 miles an hour, like 3. That'll be faster than most, like that's faster than Wildcat's Revenge, for sure. Yeah, it's pretty, you're gonna move. There's a code, yes. So our code is specific to amusement rides. So if you're designing an amusement ride with restraints, roller coasters, this type of thing, and you're in a restraint, I'm allowed to take you up to 6 G's positive and -2 negative, or -2 G's up. If I'm designing a water coaster or anything in the water, I'm not allowed to put you in a restraint, because if that boat or device was to capsize, you can't be held underwater and drown, right? You have to be able to escape. So when you're designing a water ride with no restraints, your maximum G-force is 2 G's positive, and you can never go negative. So you can't go below 0 without restraints. You can't be lifted or ejected out of your seat. Does that make sense? So, but we have our code governs that. Coming today, appreciate it.
Well, that was awesome. We got a little extra. We went up and asked about the size of it in terms of the height from the front of the ride, and he says it's probably well over 165 feet or so from the front side of the attraction, but the 137 is from the base. So that was kind of interesting. And talked to them. They were perfectly fine without me recording and sharing this with y'all. So just wanted to, it was awesome that we got to go learn a little bit about physics today. And I guess the challenging part was just really the rock that was part of the whole side of the hill that they had to.
Yeah, I was wondering why it looked like nothing had moved.
Yeah, it was just a lot of work trying to get that rock out, but it's amazing how quickly they've done all that progress in less than a year practically, you know, so pretty neat to see. The rain has let up, still very, very busy. It's a Friday. Fridays are pretty busy in May. Milton and Kathleen Hershey modeled the innovative mindset that propelled Milton Hershey's school and town of Hershey for generations. Is that so, Mr. Hershey? Had a wonderful day learning about Twizzlers Twisted Gravity. Fun time at Hersheypark today. I'm looking forward to riding that when it's open, hopefully soon. Comment below when you think that's going to be opening. Found it interesting too. I didn't get it. I wasn't recording when they were talking about it, but about like when they actually shut down rides, and they were talking about, you know, like when they're shutting down like Candemonium, for instance, if it's above 25 miles per hour, 24 miles per hour, the system won't even turn on. It won't work. It won't allow them for safety.
Them out. Yeah, because there's a little wind like meter at the top of the lift hill.
Yeah.
For every ride.
Because if it's raining and you're going 70 miles an hour, 76 miles an hour,
close to 80 miles per hour, you're gonna get pelted in the face with a bunch of raindrops, and it's gonna feel like a bunch of bees stinging you.
Yeah. And that's also, I just wanted to say, Hersheypark maintenance is like second to none. They are working so hard keeping these attractions in tip-top shape. So it's great to, and it shows with the way the rides are maintained throughout the year. They just do a great job here. All right, you know what time it is.
It's the super duper ultra ultimate mega ultra super
secret passageway to the exit. All right. I mean, it saves you about 1.5 minutes, but here we go. Twizz, I heard you have a new ride opening. Do you know when it's opening? Can you tell us?
Memorial Day weekend.
Really? Are you really? That would be incredible. We're gonna stop by the Chocolate World to ride the free chocolate making tour ride. Hopefully it's not too busy. Chocolate World. Reason why I'm want to get on this ride is I have a brand new camera. A brand new camera, a new 360 camera for the first time in 5 years. And here it is, the Insta360 X5. Just picked this up this past week.
Show me the reason you have no money.
And I need to test it out. Did some testing in the last couple of days. And going to test out the AK 30 frames per second pure video mode, which is a special mode for low light. What we're gonna do is, I'm not gonna spoil it, but we may be going to Knoebels to actually get some ride footage with this, especially the coasters. So we'll see how that plays out, but we're here at Chocolate World. We're gonna, let's get a quick ride, and maybe we'll do a time-lapse video of our ride on the Chocolate Tour ride.
On the ride.
Yeah, here we go.
For your safety, please remain seated with your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times. We're on our way to the Hershey Chocolate Factory.
is kind of neat. Yeah, so Chocolatora ride, I mean, I feel like there's definitely a couple things that are not working as much.
I counted 7 things.
Yeah, and
If you look at the video, you can.
and then there was
counting them out.
the grand finale. There was a blue screen up, like
It was
a Windows error.
So if you're watching the 360 video, and you pan to the right,
You'll see a blue
you'll see
screen.
the blue screen at the end after the picture.
With the blue screen of death on it. Windows error. So, anyways, all right, we're gonna get out of here. That was fun. Well, that's going to do it for today. Thank you very, very much for following our channel, for liking our videos. We greatly appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate your support. And we look forward to coming back here in the future, as well as other adventures that we're doing as a family. And we're really excited. Very, very busy summer planned for 2025. So lots going on. So not exactly sure when I'm going to ride Twizzlers Twisted Gravity. It's supposed to open probably in the next couple weeks. I don't know. Well, I know as our family, we have plans for Memorial Day weekend, so we won't be here. There are season pass holder previews. I know I have a king size pass that I might get a chance to ride it before they do some kind of media event or whatnot. I'm not sure if I'll be invited to a media event or whatnot, but I'm really greatly looking forward to riding that and giving my thoughts on the experience. It definitely looks intimidating being up close to it, but also very exciting. Well, thanks very much for following us today, and got on one ride. We weren't really trying to get on rides, though. I think at the end of the day, we were just trying to see what was going on with Twizzlers Twisted Gravity. So
Updated.
yep.